And then always look at the camera. If you can.
And I got to look at that, Karen.
Yeah, okay.
She distracts me.
All right,
Today, Friday, May 19th, 2023, at 11:30 a.m., I, Tom Kawano, am interviewing Martha Baker at the Rocky Mountain Regional VA Medical Center in Aurora as part of the Remembering Our Veterans program. So if Martha, if you're ready, I'm going to go down these the questions. Just take your time and whatever you want to say. So the first one is tell us a little bit about your childhood, where you were born, where you grew up, and maybe early education.
I was born in
Look right here.
I was born in Hazelhurst, Georgia, but I grew up in Belleville, New Jersey. All my time spent there until I almost joined the Army. As growing up, it was my mother and my three sisters. I can remember going to school and during break time, milk, a half pint of milk and 3 graham crackers were served.
That's all?
That was served. This is doing about 10 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
But my mother couldn't. My mother was unable to afford the 3 cents that it cost at that time.
Wow.
And I finished elementary school. I left for high school in Belleville. Growing up, it had fine moments. I had fun times, but I also had many difficult times.
Sure.
For instance, I can remember one of the games we played was hide and seek.
Yep.
And I would try to find what they're looking at, but I could never see it. And they say, "Oh, you're so dumb. Why can't you see it?" So
Really?
I would pretend that I could see. At age 10, my cousin came and she had wire rim glasses. She let me try them on. And I said, "I can't believe this. I can see. I don't have the idea how I managed to get that far in school without someone recognizing, or myself." Well, I suppose I recognized it, but I thought that was normal or expected. And it wasn't until that time that the need for glasses was found out. And I continued on to high school, always feeling that I was not up to par with everyone else. And my neighbor, we were the same age, but she'd left for college. I asked, what was her choice after school? She said, become a nurse. And I said, how does one prepare for that? And she gave me the ideas. My counselor never pointed out what subjects I should prepare for, but I managed to find out and proceed with the necessary classes that were needed for a college course. After graduating from high school, I decided it's going to be difficult to find employment, knowing what problems my mother had. And I thought nursing, which my friend had said she would become a nurse, instead she graduated as a social worker, but I stayed with the idea of nursing.
That's great.
And it meant my mother, I let her know what I needed to prepare to go on, and she was unable to afford it. So that left me deciding, what must I do in order to continue with my plans?
Right.
So I had to find a job, living in with a family, cook and bottle washer, nanny. I did all for the family of 4. I worked for 6 months, $30 a month. In 6 months, I had enough money to prepare for entrance into the nursing program. prior to that, I realized I heard that there was an Army program for nurses. I inquired about it, but that time they didn't take blacks into that program. So I sought a program in Jersey City. 150 students were in the September class. And when I applied, I was not accepted because they had a quota. They had 3 black females already in the nursing program.
Oh,
So in February of 51, I returned to that school. There were 36 students, 5 were white males who were corpsmen in the military. There were 5 black females, and the remainder, for a total of 36. I entered, and my funds that I had saved was enough for me to pay my way into a 3-year nursing course. In Jersey City, they had a 3-year program and a 5-year program, which was a college BS final. So I finished the nursing course, applied for employment and at the school where I trained, Jersey City. And the only available position was working 11 to 7. And for that, I would work 2 weeks for $30. And I thought, this should not change my mind. Now, this is in the 40s. So anyway, I thought there must be a better position available. At the center was a tuberculosis hospital. I applied, they had a vacancy. And the nurse, my school, the position at the hospitals said, this will not look very good on your records. You worked 2 weeks and you're resigning. But I could see that it would be to my advantage. So
Sure.
I applied. I was given a head nurse's position, female ward with ages 16 to about 25. And that lasted about less than 6 months, and I met nurses who had decided to join a form of the military. Their choice was the Navy or Air Force. They told me they chose that because of the uniform.
oh,
And they went to New York, returned with an application for me because I have so I'm interested. And the application was for Army. And I said, that's not my choice. But the Army required 1 year of service. Navy and Air Force required 4 years in order to sign up for the program.
oh,
I said, well, I think I could try a year.
yeah.
And I had decided to go to San Francisco, I decided to go to California, the hospital there. But it was December, and I thought that's a long way from New Jersey. So I said, is there anything available closer? And they said, what about Fort Dix? I said, oh, that's fine. That's in my backyard almost. So I spent 1 year at Fort Dix. And at that time, Black nurses and white nurses didn't work together.
Sure, right.
And it was changed, and they integrated even the military.
Right.
And my time was up, and a vacancy was for Germany, a nurse. I asked, can I remain on, could I have those orders that you'll have to extend? Okay, at that time, I thought I can extend for another year of duty in the Army. I left New Jersey on the Flying Tigers
Oh, yeah,
from,
right.
from New York to Shannon Island, from Shannon Island to Frankfurt, Germany. I was stationed at a hospital in Kaiserslautern, the southwest part of Germany. I was there 1 month, and to my surprise, I met a man. There were 5 other Black nurses at at Second General Hospital in Landstuhl. One nurse leaving her tour of duty, returning to the States, asked me if she could take me to Bremerhaven to turn in her automobile, and I would pick mine up. In doing so, she mentioned that she needed transportation to leave on Monday, returning to when we returned to our, I'm sorry, to not license to.
But that's okay. You don't have to be real exact.
Okay, so anyway, I met a friend that she knew, and he was battalion commander in the Saarbrücken. In several weeks that passed, he asked me out for dinner. And as it happened, with all that, my being in Germany 1 month,
Mhm.
I found out he was due to return to the States. He extended his time. He had served a tour in Germany, but he extended his time to the point that we departed from Germany I went to New Jersey, he went to Nebraska. For tours of duty meant he was served in Washington State and I was in San Francisco. Can't believe it that it happened that he corresponded. At that
Right.
time, there were no cell phones.
Right.
So anyway,
No, that's impressive.
his 9 months at an ammunition depot in Nevada ended, and he said to me, he wrote me and said, "I'm tired of this, let's get married." I made plans immediately for his return to headed north to Washington. And I made plans for the wedding. The Friday that he arrived, I had planned for dinners and meeting the other personnel because I didn't know anyone at Letterman in that short period of time, and he knew no one. When he found out that we had plans for dinner, he said, the man I chose as his best man, he said, "I'm not staying, I'm going on to Washington." I said, "Oh, Lamar, you must convince him he has to remain here." Plan the wedding. We were
Right.
married, he arrived on Friday, we were married on Saturday. He spent a week in the Army. At that time would not transfer me, so he did his duty in Washington and I did mine in San Francisco. From there, he retired and we traveled to Hawaii. I did my tour of duty and he was retired and I was sent to Korea. From Korea, I went to Washington. And meanwhile, he had applied for employment with Department of Defense.
Mhm.
My tour took me from Washington to Okinawa. He was director of safety on Okinawa, and I did my nursing there. That was sort of a highlight of my career, the best tour where I was given an opportunity to give my ability to
Right.
serve. And one of the nurses said, "Martha, I overheard them say, if you don't know what you're doing, they'll not allow you to stay there." In central material,
Oh.
it was sterilized and
Right.
requisitions for supplies. In Okinawa, we're out on this island, there were no civilian hospitals I could compare. Calling, how are your procedures done? Everything I did, I had to decide. And the only person I felt safe in doing so without them saying, "You can't do it," was my husband.
Mhm.
He knew absolutely
Right, sure.
nothing about operating with nursing. But somehow, each week, our department was winning awards for the best ward. I was told, we can't give you any more because you're not with the patient. But my duty meant I went onto the wards, found out what was needed for the patient. We were able to order them, prepare packages to include everything that was needed
Right.
to care for a patient. We requisitioned, we positioned, we delivered. It was fun for me to see that this was all happening. And with the help of the Ryuk and the Americans that were military, that were assigned corpsmen, we did so much. At that time, it was the first award I had ever received. And it was a meritorious service award.
Right.
There were articles written up about it. And as I said, 5 years I spent there. I was told, you'll never have to go to Vietnam,
Mhm.
because in my 20s at Letterman, I developed the bleeding ulcer, and they felt this could happen again. I somehow received orders for Vietnam. I didn't mention it to anyone. Instead, I said to my husband, why don't you go? No, I will stay on Okinawa, right, on Okinawa, wear a flag in my lapel, and saying, a flag in my window saying I have someone serving in Vietnam. As it would happen, he went to Vietnam before I did.
Oh,
I
wow.
followed.
Right.
I was there 1 year. He still remained. He spent 3 years in Vietnam. I had only 1 year. And they said, you've got to go home. You can't extend. Being from Nebraska, he said, ask for Letterman. And I said, I mean, for Fitzsimmons. And I said, what's in Colorado? But I imagined as children, they probably came to the big city of Denver from Grand
Right.
Island,
Sure,
Nebraska,
sure.
and arrived here. It snowed the day before. Children were walking along with boots, shoes in their hand as they're walking along in the streams of water. I was asked by a neighbor who was in charge of the junior ROTC program, because I had retired in Colorado.
Mhm.
And he asked, would I be interested in something? And I said, I don't have any idea about junior ROTC. He said, you can learn.
Become an officer then?
I was an officer when I was commissioned. My commissioning
Oh,
was in
right.
1951 at Fort Meade, Maryland.
But you thought about still going into junior ROTC?
Oh, heavens, no. I was retired. I had
I got you.
It was at an event at one of the officers' club.
Right. Okay.
And that we wore the uniform, and he asked me that. In fact, he was a neighbor of mine. I thought I'll give it a chance. At that time, it was a very unpopular time for Vietnam.
Sure.
And there were females weren't even considered, but they were there, they served. And in ROTC, I was amazed at the number of females who joined in ROTC.
Mhm.
I was assigned to 4 different high schools in Colorado, Denver, North, Abraham Lincoln, George Washington,
Right.
Thomas Jefferson were the high schools, and they were always females. In fact, at one time, one of the females became a battalion brigade commander.
Right.
Yeah, but the first year I was assigned, I had 2 high schools, Place and I forgot the name of the other school, but we had competition at the end of the year. Before the competition, the first assignment, the men resented the fact because of the 100-year history of ROTC in Colorado, no female had ever served as an instructor in junior ROTC. So he said to the director, I plan to resign. And he told him, will you have your resignation on my table Monday morning? And he transferred me to another school. Well, that's similar situation. And finally, I went to George Washington. It completely changed. So at competition, our females won 5 trophies more
Yeah,
than any of those
that's
schools.
impressive.
Oh, I can't believe how my 20 years in the service, from the beginning to the end, I had doors closed.
Well, yeah,
And there
at
was
that time,
always
right.
someone would open those doors who'd give
Right.
me a chance. And in doing so, there were things I didn't know or didn't learn, but I could always succeed at what I attempted to do. Not saying I was the best, but it did make a change in some way for me to feel better about it, because I grew up not feeling confident,
Right,
not
sure.
feeling that I was prepared to do
Right.
any chore.
So during that time you were in the military,
Uh,
did you have to spend any time in combat units or anything like that? Or the hospitals were in support areas probably?
Well, in Korea, it was an evac hospital.
Right.
So
right,
we're
right, right.
receiving the patients who
Right.
were on the front lines.
Yeah, and then
And,
you're
and
hopefully going home or whatever.
yes, especially in Vietnam, that even before then, but they realized instead of evacuating men that were injured, they felt they should be treated at a longer stay
Sure.
in the country and be at a better preparation for travel to the US.
That's like Ramstein base in Germany.
You're right. And at Ramstein, I was across the street at Second General Landstuhl.
Mhm. Yeah, because when I was in the service in the Army, my tour, I spent all of my time in Germany.
You did?
So I understand
So-
Germany.
So you were at Ramstein?
No, I was at,
Oh, but you toured.
yeah, I was a little bit south of Stuttgart.
Oh, okay. My time was at the Second General in Landstuhl,
Yeah,
near Kaiserslautern.
yeah.
Yeah.
So going back a little bit, what year did you enlist?
I would go November 51.
Ooh,
November 51
wow.
to December rather, 71.
Wow,
This lists all my duties and my assignments for 20 years.
that means that when you enlisted, I was 2 years old.
I know, I know. I was here at one of my appointments, and a female said, "I know you." Of course, I didn't
Well, sure.
recognize her. And she said, and there's another, she told me where she was an junior ROTC student, and on the same ward, here was another former student, and he was 71. I was in my 40s when I was 41 when I joined a junior ROTC program, when I became an instructor there.
Right, right. So I assume one of the best things that you enjoyed in the military was other service people that you dealt with. You're doing education stuff for the vets.
Well, we did take care of other services
Well,
many
yeah,
times,
that's
because I
right.
was at general hospitals
Okay.
for the most part. I
Oh,
was
okay.
stationed in Hawaii at
Right.
Tripler.
Oh, okay.
And so we had the Navy, all the services were there. I can recall, I
That's
was an
good.
operating room nurse, and
Right.
I guess a ship would arrive and you go into the waiting room, and there
Yeah.
were all those men in white uniforms
Yeah,
with injuries had come in, and
I'm sure.
I can't remember the time, the town, but anyway, the entertainment was a certain part
Yeah,
of Hawaii.
yeah, my feeling is that a lot of the veterans that were injured or whatever,
Yeah.
you nurses were a godsend. It's like having mom there, so, things like that, which is great.
I remember in Okinawa, there was a man, I toured the ward, and he had lost everything except his arm.
Oh, wow.
So he, I chatted with him and found out what it was, some of his experiences. And I said, "Is there anything that I can do?" See, I was from supply, and they had ward nurses. And he said, "Yes, I'd like to have my hair washed." And on a gurney, and then
Yeah.
we have high sinks, and it was so easy to take him down there. And I remember the day that he was evacuated and I was going to say bye to the men that were leaving for the States. And he was on a lower gurney on the
Mhm.
stack on the plane for the plane. And I asked him then, again, he said he would like to have had his
Hair washed again.
Yes.
Simple, something
Something
simple like that.
And he returned to Washington State and I received notes from him and
Well, that's great.
yeah.
Yeah, what kind of other occupations after you retired, or you just kept doing?
No, I
What?
volunteered.
Yeah.
I, except nursing.
Volunteer as a nurse?
No,
Oh.
everything. I did things like.
Oh, you're
big
probably still
brothers, right?
teaching some, teaching
What-
some.
Well, I'm trying to think. No, I don't really think I
Okay.
did that. In a way, it would have, but it was not. Everything I did was volunteer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a great service
Yeah,
thing,
yeah,
volunteering.
right.
Yeah, so what'd you do kind of in your free time after you retired? What year did you retire, by the way?
In December of 1971.
Okay. Okay. So is there other things that you, after you retired, you have hobbies that you really like to do, or seeing friends, of course, and
I met so many. It was surprising to me. It seemed every day or everywhere I
Yeah,
go, I would
sure.
meet someone.
right.
And I have, right now on my mobile phone, I have 39 calls
Gee,
because
people
first of
want
all,
to talk to you.
I can't believe that I got, and then with the technology, I'm not that familiar with it, but they are, and it's
Yeah,
so
sure.
easy for them to reach out,
Sure.
and I can't return that because I don't have enough time. I leave from one project to
Yeah.
another. I'm at St. Andrew's Village in Aurora,
Mhm.
and they have so many activities.
Sure,
And there's so
that's
many
good.
people. Well, for instance, even traveling, which I no longer do that.
Yeah.
On planes, I've met and talked to someone one day. I was on one trip I was on, and I was talking to him. He was a doctor that a friend of a surgeon I had scrubbed for in San Francisco.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Things like that happen so often.
Yeah. Is there a particular kind of like life lessons you learned from being in the nursing corps in the military?
Absolutely. When I came, I signed up for Blue and Silver Club at the Air Force Academy.
Sure.
And I can't remember.
Well, that's
I
that's
can't remember
okay.
all the things that I did and the time
Yeah.
which passed so quickly. And now at 95, I
Sure.
can't believe it.
Are there some things in your past that you want the civilians to know about you being in the military? You know,
I'm
certain.
proud of the fact that it was the best choice I could have made
Sure.
when I was 20. And
Sure.
many people frowned on female joining at that time. At that time,
Right.
the military did not allow females in any branch to marry.
Right. Right.
It wasn't until 1970 when an Air Force female wanted to go to Virginia Military Institute. It was
VMI.
yes, they had male only, but she and Ginsburg fought for it. In doing so, they were given the privilege of marriage. They were permitted to enter with children, whether
Sure.
they were single or not. They were I've seen so many changes in the 20 years. And then in the 50 years, I've seen even more, and it's never ending. And I'm
Yeah.
so pleased to be alive. I'm so pleased to see
Well, that's
people
great.
and meet people. And it's amazing how so many are not, they don't give the impression that they realize what a wonderful world it is in spite
Sure.
of all the adversities, like natural adversities
Yeah.
and man-made, and it doesn't seem to end. But people, they're still surviving and they're still going on. And it's so important for children to realize
Yeah, especially the
can have-
generations coming.
exactly that if they have plans or thoughts in their minds, how they can continue. And
Yeah,
meeting people can often change their plans or
no,
their
it
thoughts.
does.
The people that they meet that are the right people.
That's probably one of the main reasons you like volunteering and talking and helping other people,
But I,
because that's your reward.
but I find people always wanting to help me as well.
Yeah,
I
sure.
don't seek it. I don't ask for it. And it
Yeah.
just seems to fall my way for some reason.
Well, I think it's your positive personality that makes other people want to help or offer things, and sometimes maybe they need help, and
It's so easy for me to
yeah.
try to give help.
Yeah,
if
do
and when.
you have children?
I never
Oh,
had a child, and
Okay.
I feel that a sacrifice my 20 years
Yeah.
in the army
yeah,
that I was not, and it as it is, I have nieces and nephews, and I
Right.
don't know them because I was away and
sure.
for the most time while they're still there in New Jersey, and I thought, not knowing them, what can I do as my siblings' offspring? And I thought perhaps the best thing would be a trust with scholarships, not looking for
Education
benefit.
scholarships.
Exactly, because I felt if they were interested and if there's some way they would like to
That's
remember
excellent.
me, if they didn't even
Right,
know me,
right.
would apply for a scholarship, and I'd like to make it possible to make it for not only them, but others as
Mhm.
well.
That's very good. I like that.
That, that's really about the only way that I could help in some
Sure,
way.
sure. You're
for
doing
young
you're doing
people.
all the right things.
Well,
That's why
people-
people gravitate to you.
You
Oh,
think
seriously.
so?
Yeah, that's why everybody wants to talk to you and listen to what you have to say.
Excuse me, someone, I don't, I don't feel that way. And growing up, especially,
Yeah,
I can remember, I was 10 years old, and in New Jersey, I was with another 10-year-old, and
hmm
I ran across Broad Street, and I don't know how it happened, but I became aware I was underneath a car. I was struck by a car.
Oh, wow.
People gathered around, and they're saying, they got me out, they said,
Sure.
take her to a hospital. He took us away from the scene of the incident, and he put us out of the car. We had to find our way back. I mean,
Oh,
and yet there's been so many good things have happened to me all
Yeah.
my life. Everything has outnumbered the bad.
yeah.
And
Well, that's good though. The positives always should outnumber the positive or unpopular ones.
and
Yeah, do you have anything else to add?
Oh.
'Cause we have to
Oh.
conclude
I'm
the,
sorry.
no, you
no,
did fine.
thank you. I mean, like you approached me on this. I mean, I come in and everybody is so friendly and so
Yeah.
helpful. And,
Well, that's why I
and-
like volunteering at the VA, because I'm here to help.
and I remember Jill. I can't rename.
Yeah,
I can't.
she's
I
still a volunteer here.
I can't recall the names of all the
Yeah,
people
that's
as I
okay.
meet them each time I
I
come.
had Jill sign your card. We got a thank you card too
Oh,
for
thank
you. And a lot of the volunteers and some of the management is, there's only so much room in there for everybody to sign. So I think we filled it up.
Really?
So I have that for you with the
Although,
flowers too.
Thank you. And see, it's embarrassing that I can't remember their names.
No, you don't have to. I'm bad with names too. So do you have anything else you want to add into the system or? Oh, yeah, I almost forgot.
What's that?
The important thing is why don't you look at the camera and kind of read through a lot of the medals commendations that you received. If the people would like that. Just read them off, whatever you can remember, and you just look into the camera and
The first award that I received, and I was in my late 30s, was a meritorious service medal.
sure.
I was in
Sounds familiar.
Okinawa, And it's one of the highest that you can receive. And that was my first. And it's because of the personnel at the hospital.
Right.
And I received, well, when I joined, occupation of Germany's
Oh, an
occupation.
occupation
Yeah.
medal?
Yes,
Oh, wow.
and that's awarded. And a reserve medal.
Yeah,
When I say meritorious, it was awarded to me
Right,
because of performance, but reserve is for your duty. The Army commendation was at the end.
sure.
Even though many people receive a commendation medals during their tour, I received it at the end of my 20 years.
Yeah,
National Defense is another that's awarded people on active duty.
I think that's what I got.
Uh-huh.
I got a good conduct medal for staying out of trouble.
And let's see, reserve, occupation, Army commendation, Bronze Star is the highest.
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
definitely.
the award.
Bronze Star,
And
wow.
the
For the
Vietnam,
sorry for interrupting, but the Bronze Star, what was that awarded for?
my duty in, I think more so in Vietnam.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yes.
That's excellent.
Yeah. And my Vietnam campaign.
Sure.
That's a very high one also. I mean, all of them are high. I mean,
Yeah,
and I have a sign reading, "Where are your medals?" Here Memorial Day is coming up, but
Oh, yeah,
Armed Forces
sure.
Day, and
were you, by the way, were you in the military during World War II? Or
no,
was
but
it
I was
after?
14.
Oh, you were
Pearl
14.
Harbor was
Okay,
bombed on that Sunday afternoon.
yeah.
Had never heard of Pearl Harbor, didn't know where it was.
So mainly
But it
you're,
was frightening to
Yeah,
think
I'm
what's
sure.
going to happen to us, the United States.
yeah, so you spent most of your tour in Korea,
Well-
Vietnam era.
Well, Korea I extended, it was only a year tour
That's
at the
okay,
time.
but
But
you
I
were still in
did
the
18
service.
months there. My husband
Okay.
spent about 4 years there. He was in Germany, and he was in Korea.
Right,
He was in Vietnam. And I have a
Okay.
hat, and it has World War II.
right. I've
And
seen some of those.
Korea and Vietnam, and they'll say, "Is that your husband's hat?" I said, "No, but he served in World War II, and we both
Okay.
served in Korea and
Right.
Vietnam."
Right, that's still impressive. So is that kind of the summary of the medals and commendations and,
Yes.
Pretty
Oh,
much.
oh no, I have a book, and it has all the certificates and things
Right,
that
no,
I
that's
received
good.
on the day. I was surprised that my tour on Okinawa made the. where-
they made the papers.
Yeah, these are pictures from the paper, but it made.
Okay,
And you know what happened during my tour? I saw
yeah.
I saw
you
this
can just
picture.
Show it real quick.
I
to the
saw
camera.
this picture,
Yeah,
and I asked. I said, I received a letter, and I would like the. I said the Women's Memorial was a special edition. It was well done, but I have a concern that in no way it represents the women of the armed forces, whether they were Black, Hispanic, Asian, or Native American, who served as partners in America's defense. Where are they? This is that magazine. The
Oh,
magazine had a picture of the military, of females. After my letter, this came out.
oh, wow.
Not because of me, but I did write another one, and I asked, I have written to women in military service expressing my concern receiving a lack of minority representation in the 1994 calendar. The memorial calendar would have been more authentic had actual photos instead of authentic posters of World War II been used. It was brought to my attention that there were no authentic posters of World War II, Black women or men. One picture is worth 1,000 words. Major Elam, a nurse, one of many who was also concerned, was told that an oversight had been made, that there should have been more sensitivity applied to the issue. Is there a role for minorities in memorial leadership? Where are the Colin Powells, General Hazel Johnson, Marcelette Harris, and others? Our place of honor has been taken from us. This contributes to the stale legacy of minority drownness in American history. Should their achievements continue to be denied the honor and recognition they have earned? When I said, this was the first one, this was the second one, this was the magazine that was published. This is contained the first, and this is now stamps, American stamps, has this picture. And it has,
That's great.
it's the best choice I could have made without many people saying, go for the Army. Instead, you were still getting,
Right.
what are you doing that for? Why would you put yourself in a place like that? It's not good. But there's so many opportunities, presidents and
Right.
students. And
Look at General Eisenhower.
Yes. I saw him when I was Walter Reed. I was at a church service, and we were told, everyone was told to remain seated. And then he and Mamie came out. They were at the service.
Oh, wow, Mamie. Okay. But I think we're going to conclude this interview.
You have 5 more minutes.
Oh.
These are other photos.
Oh, 5 more minutes?
Like your mom.
You get 5 more minutes? Yeah, you show your mom and everything.
You know, this,
You
okay.
just explain
See,
to
look,
what they
see, this is
are.
a picture of white. And then today, this is a picture of Black
Oh.
generals.
See-
These are all generals.
See how
And
diverse
there's
it is.
more than this.
Yeah.
I knew 3 of them.
That's it.
Oh,
That's
this was
impressive.
that award from Okinawa and supply, the things that I did.
Mhm.
This Okinawa, I mean, this is Vietnam,
What year?
1970.
Wow.
I was there 70 to 7. I was only there a year. I wanted to
But
stay.
still,
And they said, no, you got to go home. So I left my husband, came to Colorado. Never been to Colorado. The longest place I've ever lived in one time.
yeah, you want to show your mother and
Oh,
those ones you showed me?
this is my mother, and this is my mother's grandmother. She
Oh,
was the
wow.
product of a slave. She was married twice, first to white, and then, of course, on my side to black. I went to New Haven, Connecticut. I was 10 years old, and I'm sure their offspring, because of her, I did not meet them. I don't know how I was selected to spend 1 week with her. She was 96, lived on the 2nd floor, walked upstairs, and went to work every day.
Yeah.
She would leave for work, leaving me there. I would dress, go downstairs and walk on Dixwell Avenue in New Haven, Connecticut. At the end of the street was Yale University. At age 10, I mean, there's so many things I can remember when I was 10 years old and other times as well. But she was my great grandmother.
Sure, that's impressive.
And there is a resident at St. Andrews who married a Marine, her father, that military family. And she said, Martha, she wanted to write something about me. And so she wanted pictures. And this was the first time that I saw the man I was to marry. I saw him and I thought, wow, but I had no idea he'd even look at me. And it surprised me. And especially when he learned that he knew he was to return to the States, and he was able to extend his time and return and remain in Germany as battalion commander and Nisau. And we left on the same plane, returning to the States. And I mean, there's so many things have happened.
What's this one commemorative thing?
This was the last, well, this is from my tour in Vietnam.
Wow. Did you get that from our government or the Vietnamese or?
No, it came from, let's see, Department of Defense,
Oh, okay,
Vietnam War
okay.
commemorative.
That's impressive.
And the Vietnam Medal.
Can you say what these other medals are real quick?
This
Well, you can just.
Bronze Star,
just point at it.
Meritorious Commendation, Vietnam. Oh, I can't remember offhand what that. This is Reserve. And I don't have my glasses on, but they're on that paper.
Oh, here, you can go and put your glasses on if you want.
But I still can't see. Wait a minute. I have that list of them. And then I can't see with that. These glasses are not bifocal and I cannot see. But the medals are the Bronze Star, which is the highest, the Meritorious Service Medal, Army Commendation, Reserve Medal, Vietnam Service Medal, Veterans Campaign, and National Defense. And some of the,
Very impressive.
oh, thank you. And I can't.
So we good on time? We done? Okay. Yeah, so Martha, we at the VA,
Yes.
we really appreciate you giving us the opportunity to talk to you.
But I
'Cause
don't feel I'm giving the VA anything.
Oh, no, just your presence here, your stories. You know, everybody should listen to that. It's very impressive. You know, the way I was brought up, my parents always told me, no matter what happens, do the right thing. Don't worry about monetary money or the way you look or whatever. Just do the right thing. And I've lived that. That's been my moniker for all my life. So it seems like you're similar to that.
Oh, so thank you. I appreciate people.
Sure,
And
I can
think,
tell.
and I think there's so much that, you know, I've gone into a
Yeah,
store and a mother's holding her baby,
Right.
and the baby looks at me and is smiling, and the
Yeah.
mother's surprised.
Yeah. Why don't you show your vest
Oh.
off too?
I'll
Well, you
take
don't
it.
need to take that off. You can, yeah, just show it to the camera. Kind of explain what it is.
Yeah.
Korean War Veterans Association.
Mm.
And that says Korean War Veterans Association. There's a lot of Korean writing there.
Yes.
I can't decipher that,
Yeah.
but
You know, I was leaving this morning and I didn't have the jacket on, but I put this on. And at the desk, her name is Young, and she is from Korea. And she said, and so I told her, I didn't know exactly what was happening.
Right.
And she was so provide. I went to the World's Fair after serving in Korea, and there were Koreans at the exhibits, ones who made even uniform. And here they were in the US. And you just never know who you're going to meet,
That's
where,
right.
and it's amazing. All nationalities, everybody has the same needs and wants, and instead of thinking, why not share it instead of destroying
Right.
it? When I think of Ukraine, I've been to Russia. I've no matter where, actually, it's worldwide.
Sure.
It's worldwide.
See
It
that?
always has been. They
Yeah.
started with stones. That didn't work,
Right.
so they used sticks, and each country found out about the stick, and then they got sticks.
Yeah.
Then it's bayonets, and it going to the outer space. It continues.
See, what I've also found was that the military is one of the most inclusive organizations in the world. You know, no matter what race, gender, they're getting better at it too.
Yeah.
But that's what I enjoyed it being in the military.
I certainly enjoyed my time in the travel. I would
Yeah.
never have visited
Exactly.
place Australia. I mean, when I had a chance to go to the sixth continent, and I didn't go with a nurse, and she died about 10 years ago, and I was thinking,
What's the
You-
sixth continent?
Uh,
Antarctica or something? Or?
yes.
Oh, good. I'm not that knowledgeable in that. Yeah. Oh, just so to finish this up, again, we just want to thank you for letting us do this, so we can show other veterans, maybe civilians, what the military's about, and they should pay. The civilians need to pay more tribute to the veterans for what they've done. So we just want to thank you very much.
Yes. When I saw that when I returned from Vietnam, what everybody needed to know.
Oh man, especially that era.
Yeah.
We need to say thanks to them.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, well, thanks for doing this. So you did great.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.